Truth will come to light. Murder will not be hid long. My God, what a pulse, Mr. Montag. I've got you going, haven't I? Jesus, God, your pulse sounds like the day after the war. Everything but sirens and bells. Shall I talk some more? I like your look of panic. Swahili, in English literature. I speak them all.
Montag, hold on. He's muddying the water.
You are scared silly. For I could do a very terrible thing in using the very books you cling to rebut you on every hand, on every point. What traitors books can be, Mr. Montag. You think they're backing you up, but then they turn on you. Others can use them too. And there you are, lost in the middle of a moor, in a welter of nouns.
Be careful.
And in the end, I come along with the salamander. All's well that ends well. We have exactly 10 seconds while we win this hand, and I get all your money away from you. You going out of the hand there, Mr. Montag?
Yeah.
Oh, wait. On second thought, we're taking this call right now. Get the equipment up. Let's hustle up. Mr. Montag, you sure you're okay? You sure you're not getting that fever again?
I'm all right.
This is special case. You'll be fine. Sounds ready? Colors up. Salute. Up. Montag, helmet. Hands up.
I thought of the women in my house that night, and my silly damned reading of the book to them. How like trying to put out fires with water pistols. I thought, how can I go to this new assignment? How can I go on burning books, houses, people? Lights flicked on all down the street to watch the carnival set up. Beatty stared at me with an airy coldness and with some kind of weird satisfaction.
Well, here we are, bringing happiness to the world, boys.
Why are we at my house?
Fly too close to the sun, he burnt his wings. You stupid ass fool! Didn't I give you enough hints when I sent the hound around your place? And Clarice McClellan, you fell for that stupid little idiot's routines? Butterflies and tasty. God, it's on her school record. Blades of grass and quarters in the moon. What shit? What did she ever do with any of it?
Montag, this is Faber. Do you hear me? What's happening?
It's happening to me. God.
What a dreadful surprise. Everyone thinks nothing will ever happen to me. There are no consequences, no responsibilities, except there are, Mr. Montag. And by the time you figure that out, it's too late, isn't it?
Montag, can you get away? Run!
What is there about fire that's so beautiful? Its beauty lies in the fact that it destroys responsibilities, destroys consequences. A problem too burdensome? Into the fire it goes. Now you, Mr. Montag, are burdened. And fire will lift you off my shoulders clean and wet. Boys, come out. Mr. Montag, you're doing this job all by your lonesome. Not with kerosene, not with matches, but piece by bloody piece. With a flamethrower. Your house, your cleanup.
Are you
Monte,
ready?
can you run away? Get away! Get away!
It's the hounds, like, because of the
Oh,
hounds.
yes,
like-
yes, the hounds are somewhere in the neighborhood, so don't try anything.
Was it my wife who set the alarm?
Yes, but your neighbors called in an alarm earlier. One way or another, you were going to get it. And by the way, Mr. Montag, when you're done burning your shitty, useless life away, you are under arrest, Mr. Guy Montag. You stupid ass fool, you goddamn
Monte,
idiot!
get
Why
out
did
of
you ever
there.
really do
Get out
it?
of there! Are you all right? Get out of there! Are you okay?
More this than I thought. Hello?
It all makes sense.
Leaning your head down, I thought you might have an earbud, but I wasn't sure when you turned clever later on. Well, we'll put a trace on this earbud and we'll drop in on your friend a little later. Goodbye. All right. Start over on this side.
Hey,
Whoa,
easy.
drop it, man.
Jesus, God. What a way to get naughty. Pull a gun on a man and make him listen to your bullshit speech? Go ahead. Speechify away. Belt some fucking Shakespeare at me, you goddamn snob. You second-rate literateur.
Take off the goddamn uniform, Cap.
Guy,
It ain't worth it.
you don't want to do this, son.
Take it easy.
Guy,
It's
you,
not
you
worth
can't
it.
do this.
You need to
don't wanna
burn
do
right,
this.
Cap.
Guy, you
He's your
you
friend.
can't do this.
Yes, I fucking can.
No, he's your friend.
No!
Holy God!
Oh,
What the?
we didn't do anything. We're covered in kerosene.
You two. Take it easy, man. Turn the fuck around. Take it easy. I don't want to die, man. I don't want to die. Don't kill me. Shit.
I thought, you're a fool, Montag. An awful idiot. Look at the mess, and where's the mop? Pride and temper. And you junked it all. You vomit on everyone and on yourself. Beatty, the women, Mildred, Clarice, everything. No excuse. Why don't you keep yourself up? But I was at the river. I walked out until there was no bottom and was swept away. The hound was gone. Now there was only the cold river and me floating in a peacefulness away from the city, the lights, and the chase. Away from everything. I reached the tracks and made my way here to you.
That's my story. That's who I am.
Have a seat. Sit down, please. Have some coffee. It's okay. You're welcome here.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Mr. Montag. My name is Granger. Here, drink this too. It's bitter and disgusting, but it will change the chemical index of your perspiration. Half an hour from now, you'll smell like two other people. And if the hound's after you, the best thing is, bottoms up. You'll stink like a bobcat, but that's all right. Right?
You know who I am.
Yes.
How?
We've been watching the chase. You see, we knew you would end up south along the river. When we heard you plunging around in the forest, we didn't hide as we usually do. You see, we knew you would be in the river. But when the helicopter's cameras come back around in over the city, there's something funny. The chase is still happening. The other direction. Yeah. You see, they're faking. You threw them off at the river and they can't admit it. They know that they can go on but for so long. You see, the show has got to come to a snap ending. And if they start searching the whole damn river, it'll take them all night long. So they're sniffing around for a scapegoat to end the show with a bang. But you'll see, they'll catch Montag soon.
How?
Right now, there's some innocent fellow out for a walk. Some guy that just walks to the hell of it. The police have been charting him for months, maybe even years. And today, it's going to be very useful. It's going to save face. Watch and see.
Watch for the running man. Watch for the running man on foot. Montag. The name is M-O-N-T-A-G. Guy Montag. Everyone in every house in every street, open your front and rear door, or look out your window. The fugitive cannot escape if everyone in the next minute looks from their house. The chase continues south in the city. Police helicopters are converging on Avenue 87 and Elm Grove Park. The hound is here. Ladies and gentlemen, the hound is here. There's Montag, ladies and gentlemen. The search is done. Montag, don't move. The hound is here. Ladies and gentlemen, the search is over. Guy Montag is dead. The terrible crime he has perpetrated against our society has been avenged by our society. We are happy once more.
Did you know? Did you know? They didn't even show his face. They scrambled it just enough to let the imagination take over. Hell, welcome back from the dead, Mr. Montag. You might as well meet all of us. Scholars, all.
Yeah, but I don't belong with you guys. I've been an idiot all the way.
We're used to that. You see, we all made the same mistakes, or we wouldn't be here. You know, when we were all separate individuals, we were all filled with rage. I once punched a fireman when he came to burn my library years ago. I've been running ever since. Mr. Montag, would you like to join us?
Yeah. Yes, I would.
What do you have to offer?
Nothing. I mean, I thought I had part of the book of Ecclesiastes, a little bit of Revelation, but I'm not even sure if I have that now.
Where is it?
It's here. Is that okay?
It's better than okay. It's perfect. Do we have the book of Ecclesiastes here?
One, a man named Harris, who does nothing
Mr. Montag, walk carefully. Guard your health. If anything was to happen to Harris, you are the book of Ecclesiastes. Now, do you see how important you've become in just the last few minutes?
No, but look, I've forgotten it. Okay?
Nothing is ever lost.
Listen, I've tried to remember
Do
this.
Do not try. It will come to us when we need it. You see, we all here have photographic memories, but we are so willing to spend a lifetime learning how to block out the things that are really in there. You see, Simmons have worked on this method for over 20 years, and now we have the method down to where we can recall anything that we've read just once. Someday, would you like to read Plato's Republic?
Yeah, I mean, do you have it?
Mr. Montag, I am Plato's Republic. Now, would you like to read other books that you have destroyed?
Mice and men, A Clockwork Orange.
Giving tree.
Norman Mailer,
Naked in the dead.
The last unicorn.
Ah,
It can't be.
oh, but it is. It is, Mr. Montag. You see, we're book burners too. But you see, we read the books and then we burn them. You see, we were afraid the books would be found. Better to keep it in our old heads, where no one can see it or suspect it. You see, we're all bits and pieces of literature and history. It's all in here, Mr. Montag. But I was late. The war has begun. You see, we're out here and the city's there. So what do you think, Mr. Montag?
I think I've been an idiot the whole way. Thinking about burning books and burning firemen's houses.
Listen, you did what you had to do. All we want to do is keep the knowledge that we think we will need safe and intact. For if we are destroyed, the knowledge is dead. Perhaps for good. So, we walk the old tracks. Lie in the hills at night. The city folks, they let us be. I mean, we're stopped and we're searched occasionally, but there's nothing on our persons to incriminate us. Nothing to incriminate us. Some of us have even had plastic surgery on our faces and fingerprints. Mr. Montag, you do know that I wasn't always a black man. I'm joking, Mr. Montag. But right now we have a terrible job waiting for the war. And perhaps when the war is over, we can be of some good use to this world.
Yeah. Do you think that they'll listen?
If they don't, we'll pass the books on to our children. We let them lie in wait. A lot of the knowledge will be lost that way, of course. But you can't make people listen. You have to wait until they come along on their own time. This can't last forever.
How many of you guys are actually out there?
There's thousands of us on the road, the abandoned railroad at night, bunks on the outside, libraries on the inside. And perhaps when the war is over, the books will be written again. The people will be called in one by one to recite what they know. We'll set it up in type until another dark age, when we might have to do the whole thing all over again. But that's the wonderful thing about mankind. They never get so discouraged or disgusted that they're not willing to do it all over again. For they know it's important and worth doing.
So, all right, what do we do tonight?
Well, tonight we wait, we move downstream a little bit, just in case.
It's funny. I just remember where I met my wife.
What?
Chicago. Granger. Why do you trust me?
The look of you is enough. Have you seen yourself in the mirror lately? The Phoenix.
What?
The Phoenix. There was a silly damn bird named the Phoenix. Every few hundred years or so, it will build a pyre and burn himself up. He must have been the first cousin of man.
Yeah, it's the bird in our uniform.
And every time he burned himself up, he would spring from the ashes and be born all over again. Now, it seems like we're doing the same thing over and over again. But we've got one thing the Phoenix never had. We know the silly things that we've been doing for 1,000 years. And as long as we know that and have it where we can see it, someday we'll stop making the goddamn funeral pyres and jumping in the middle of it. Mr. Montag, have you ever seen the atomic bomb mushroom from 200 miles up with the wilderness around it? It's a pinprick. It's nothing. You know, my grandfather, he hoped that the city would open up more. Let the green land in. Let the wilderness in more. to remind the people that we are allotted a little space on earth. You know, we survived that wilderness that can take back what it has given as easily as blowing its breath on us or sending it into the sea to tell us, we're not that big. You know, my grandfather said, when we forget how close the wilderness is at night, someday it will come in and get us. For we will have forgotten how terrible and real it is. He would shout, I hate the Roman name status quo. Stuff your eyes with wonder. Live. Live as if you would drop dead in 10 seconds. See the world. The world is more fantastic than any dream made or paid for in factories. Ask no guarantees, no security. There never was such an animal. And if there were, it would be related to the great sloth, which hang itself upside down in a tree all day, sleeping its life away. To hell with that, shake the tree and knock the great sloth down. Mr. Montag, did you see? My grandfather had been dead for all these years. But if you was to lift my skull in the convolutions of his brain, you would see the big ridges of his thumbprint. He touched me. Everyone, head upstream now, quickly. Hold on to one thought. Remember, you are nothing. You are no one. The load we carry today may help someone tomorrow.
There's a time for everything. There's a time to be born. And a time to die. There is a time to heal. And a time to die. There is a time to weep. And there is a time to laugh. There are times to throw stones away. There's a time to gather stones together. There's a time to rip them apart. There's a time to sew together. There's a time to be silent. And a time to speak. There's a time to love. And a time to hate. There's a time to love. There's a time for war. And a time for peace. This is what we're going to tell them. When we get to the city.
I apologize again for everybody my age. I'm sorry about that fright. I know we had thought we'd never see that again. And those of you all who are younger, don't forget about that fright, because it's rearing its ugly head again. That was a bomb called the Tsar's bomb. It was invented by the Russians, and it was originally 100 million megatons of TNT, which they brought down to 57 million megatons of TNT because they couldn't get away from it fast enough. They blew it up and realized that it was too big. It set the atmosphere on fire, if you notice that. It was so strong, it released all of its explosive power and radiation into the upper atmosphere. Only problem with that, ladies and gentlemen, is that most radiation have half-lives of 1 million years, and we live on a what? Circular ball. So every day that plume comes back to visit who? Rushing, along with us.
So these bombs are not experimental anymore. They cannot be used. And we should stand forth and tell the world that we don't want to see them. All right? Thank you for coming and playing with us. And if you notice, Joe, everybody keeps asking me, where did this take place? Where does it take place? And I don't even know, because in the book he doesn't really say it in England or it's in America. But there's one line at the end of the play that tells you exactly where they are. When he says, I met my wife in Chicago. And there you go. So Ray put it in a place. A little late in the novel, but he put it in a place. Go home safely. Thank you for coming.
Hey, Zach. Master of lighting, tech, sets, sound, and everything else.